Who am I really? Who was I when I first met her? Who am I now? And who am I becoming?
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves.
Welcome to the C-Note Show, guys. Today is Thursday, June 18th, 2020. This is brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains, and you are here because this is where we do our daily work as men. Our daily work of understanding what's going on with the monkey mind inside of our brain. How do we be more phenomenal in relationship? Or how do we deal with our fucking torturous, purgatory, falling from the cliff relationship spot that you may be in right now? I have a hunch you found this because you're in a really difficult spot in relationship. And that's why I joined my men's group in 2015. And I'm one of the OG in my local men's group. And here we learn how to have the 3 forms of confidence as a man, how to have the tools to kick ass in the world, and how to repair if we're in a difficult spot, and how to understand those monkey minds, right? Like if we're jealous or we're anxious or we want something we know we shouldn't really want, we're conflicted within ourselves. We're going to talk about that a lot today. And here with me, the only woman allowed in this show is Miss Cynthia Cruz, my partner in crime. She's also my fiance, and she and I have both been in private practice as coaches for 4 years. We work with men exclusively now, aside from we have 2 families in town that we still work with that we worked with in the past, but otherwise we are exclusively with men. So we thank you for being here, Cynthia. We always love to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. It is deeply, deeply honoring to get to sit here with this incredible tribe. So thank you, each of you, for being here this morning, and thank you for inviting me into this space.
Fantastic. I completely agree, Cynthia. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Our theme of this week is, who am I really? Who am I really? Who was I when I first met her? Who am I now? And who am I becoming? We look like the same man, we are the same man, but we're not the same on the inside any day, one after the other, from what we learn in the show, what you guys experience in the world, what I experienced through the growth of having the pain of death by female, as some of us call it, or the potential for death by females, what it feels like. It feels like we lost that whole future story that we've ingrained our life around, and it's been, that part of the story has been ripped out and thrown down the beach, tumbled down the road, and it's gone forever. And so our goal here is to learn how to start writing our own story, how to move into that next chapter of our life. So here we do our daily work on the C-Note Show, our daily work as men. And this week we're highlighting the book Hold On to Your Nuts and talking specifically about boundaries and values. Who am I as a man? We're learning how to pet the elephant, how to call out the elephant with our woman, and how to pet the elephant and how to give your gift as a masculine man, and without waiting, how to give it now, even though you feel like in intense pain. You might wake up feeling like, oh my God, I wish that was a nightmare that I just woke up from. I experienced that, so I understand what that's like. So today we've got a guest on today, Mr. Scott. We've got a guest lined up for tomorrow as well. Steve from Australia. He's going to call in at 3 a.m. Australia. It'll be Saturday morning, 3 a.m. when he calls in here tomorrow, when it's Friday, 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Like, we've got men from all around the world. So as usual, I want to start with something from the forum, and then I've got a 2-minute comedy skit. It's called, How Do You Know If She's a Basic Bitch? Cynthia, do you know so if I said, my 16-year-old would know what this means, but if I said, yeah, she's a basic bitch, do you know what that means, Cynthia?
I have no idea.
Yeah?
No, and I don't have a witty comeback for that either. Let me
All right,
see
cool. Well,
first.
you'll figure it out as I'll share the comedy sketch. You'll figure it out. But yeah, my son would be able to oh yeah, I know what that is, Dad. You don't know what that is? You're such a boomer. Like, I'm not a fucking boomer, dude. My parents are the boomers. So something from the forum I want to share from yesterday. I just finished the book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. And in the last chapter, the sample of the inner dialogue between a man's ego and his inner trickster, the immature pole of the magician. The trickster had been sabotaging this man in the story, making him have outbursts at work, be late, angry, confrontational. Upon confronting the trickster explained that it had been trying to sabotage the man so that he would get fired to finally take a vacation. Once he realized this, the man took his needed vacation and had once been his nemesis, became his lifelong friend from that point forward. So our poster, our guy in the forum that we all know and well, I'll leave him anonymous for now. He says, I now have just come to realize that all the anger, the OCD related anger and conflict I have had with my wife for the last few years has been my inner immature archetype calling me out to do this work as men. I have so many areas in which I need to grow into a better man, all of which we are addressing here. I need to grow into a man. And all this trouble has been my inner being calling out for me to move forward. I would say you all have no idea how profound this self-realization is to me, but actually you probably do realize how big this is. Peace and love, brothers. Phenomenal. So cool. I love that. I love how guys share, as we've come along here, we're on our 9th week of this show. And just in that amount of time, men have really, I've seen them pull themselves up from the mud, or we're here to reach down and pull that man next to us up from the mud that we were in last week, last month, last year. Or we have guys on here that are all in different spots. They're at the starting line, or they're 2 weeks in, or they're 3 months in, or they're a couple of years past, or like myself, I'm now about 5 years past into my journey. And I've been doing this professionally for 3 to 4 years now, working with men. So good. So Cynthia, I'm going to share this. I'd love for you to give us some feedback as we watch, because tomorrow I have Basic Bro. How do you know if you're a basic bro? That's what I'm going to share tomorrow. But today we've got, how do you know if you, or Cynthia, right? Or how do you know if you're a woman is a basic bitch? Because apparently that's really not a good thing, as we're going to find out. Extra regular female.
It's going to be fun, no matter what happens, okay?
Good morning, you two.
Morning.
Got your results back. And, I'm sorry, but the test was positive. You're a basic bitch.
Doctor, there has to be a mistake.
Well, unfortunately, no. Your symptoms are completely in line with other basic bitches. You're into scented candles, you order your bagel scooped, and then you own a picture frame that says family on it.
It's my fault. She's a basic bitch. I gave you that Friends box set for Christmas.
Actually, she's been basic for quite some time now. Lucy, do you have any idea when maybe you first came in contact with all this basic shit?
I guess, in college, I owned a pair of sweatpants that said sexy on the butt.
Probably contracted your basic bitchness from a sorority sister. Borrow some Ugg boots here and there. Experiment with North Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. You basic.
I can't believe we ignored the signs. All the Zumba classes, the inspirational quote in my email signature.
Paninis from Panera Bread?
Yeah, it's getting worse. Here you are at a Halloween party 4 years ago, dressed as a slutty nurse. That's some unoriginal ratchet shit right there. But at least you knew how to have fun. 2 years later, you're tweeting about Starbucks. Hashtag caffeine. Where did you come up with that? And finally, we caught this during an Instagram check this morning. That's a foot tattoo of your astrological sign.
I don't mean to be so sensitive. It's a Pisces thing.
Not treated properly, this could escalate to full-blown Sex in the City themed brunches.
Doctor, is it possible that I could contract her basicness?
Gerald.
What? I have a bad bitch reputation to uphold.
You should be fine as long as you use protection. If she's watching Teen Mom or Say Yes to the Dress, I'd recommend that you distract yourself. Open a book, browse the internet, anything to prevent you from taking in that basic ass shit.
Is there any possibility of a full recovery? Could I ever someday be a bad bitch?
The best I can do is prescribe something that will help minimize your basic bitch symptoms. You'll never be a bad bitch. But with the proper treatment, you won't be so basic that you're posting pictures of you and your girls in Vegas with the caption, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." We know what happened in Vegas. You got drunk and you danced with each other. I'm sorry. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Hey, we are stronger than this, okay? I am with you 100%.
You are so sweet. I feel like I'm in love, actually.
I want to divorce you.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Cynthia, how many things on the basic bitch list did you check off? Do you have sweatpants that say sexy on the ass?
No, but I wanted to have sweatpants.
Oh no, God, narrowly avoided the basic bitchness. I won't ask you about Sex in the City or if you watch Friends or the dress show or whatever the fuck they're talking about. I won't ask you about that. Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. So Scott, here's the question of the day. Are you a basic bitch?
Basically, yes.
So, gentlemen,
I
was gonna say we talked with Scott ahead of time. We asked him to come share part of his story, right? So we always start off with some comedy. We try to laugh here as much as we can, even if it has to get cut from YouTube because they don't let me show everything. And then we're gonna dive into the shit and give tools and a plan and perspective of what to do moving forward. We dive into the pool, we swim in the vulnerability, and then we kick up off the bottom with a plan and perspective. So we asked Scott to come on and share a bit of his story today. So Scott, give us the real shit, man. Just give us the fucking scoop. Go for it.
Well, I was going to say I don't have a sweatpants with sexy, but they say juicy on the ass.
Oh, no.
Is that good?
You should have told us. Ass? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's worse than I thought.
Super juicy.
Oh, no. It's going to work all the time. Go for it, buddy.
Yeah. Man, basically, I contacted you last year, probably September, October. I was just like broken. I was trying to talk to you we had a phone call and then we did a FaceTime, and like I could barely even like look at you. I was just like done, broken, down to the wire. And then through Steve, I started getting on the group, started talking to people, started doing the work. Just started feeling a lot better. Come around because January was the toughest month for me. You called it too. You said, watch, man, it's going to be tough through the winter. Then January after New Year's, she told me she met someone and it was just like, my birthday. On my birthday, she went to go meet the guy. It was just torture, just like stabbing in. And then come around after quarantine. Quarantine was really bad for the first week. We were together. It was like really tough. And then once it started like lifting a little and she decided to get her own place, I was, distraught about that, but she signed the lease, she got in there, and then I just started feeling better once I started doing the web calls with Steve, your show here, and just started doing my own stuff and getting my own life, finally. Reconnecting with old friends, just was like in a great mood, just feeling much better. And this was, 3 weeks ago, I want to say. Then I would say a week and a half ago, just started getting, I stopped doing the work. I was like, oh, I'm cured. I'm a man now. Rah! And I was like, I'm done. Woo!
I'm cured.
Life complete.
I'm cured. I don't ever have to do this again. I don't have to read any more books. I don't have to talk about shit ever again.
I'm done, man. And then I'm a man. Woo! And then, like a week and a half ago, it was, I was helping her do some stuff, and she was helping, because it's like long story. We're in a litigation right now. It's been 2 years. It's like crazy litigation with like so much paperwork, and I'm like really bad at paperwork, and she's on the litigation too, and she is helping out a lot. So she like did all this paperwork for me, and I was really grateful. And then so I started helping her move some stuff and do some stuff to her place. And, we started talking and we started like getting back in the flow, and, it wasn't something that I really wanted or expected, because I want to move on, but it's like that whole, like that flame, and it just like pops up. And then, so, so I go home, she's taking finals for med school, and I'm just thinking at home, she's studying, but, maybe some guys coming over later, and it just started getting in my head and just messing with me like bad. And then I started getting that same like jealousy monkey in my head. And every time, she's got her own place, she's there by herself, I've got the kids. So I'm like, what's she doing? And it's just, I've been trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, so let me jump in. I love it, Scott. So let me jump in. This is, first of all, I think literally every man that has been through this, every man that's here has been through that, where we kind of feel like we're through it, We talk a lot about on this show that every time you, especially right away when things are raw, every time you see her, it tends to throw us back into this hangover for at least 2 or 3 days. Talked about that on the show. But let's take a step forward, right? It's been months, maybe years, maybe 1 year, 2 years or more at this point, and you see her and it still maybe throws you for a loop at different times, right, Scott? And so it's been since basically January at this point. So 5 months, something like that. You've been doing this work for what, 4 or 5 months, something, right, Scott? And so you're wondering, well, damn, right? So what, give us a question. I want to bounce a specific question off of Cynthia as well about this. So please.
Okay. Question. I would say, because, well, let me give you background too. We'll FaceTime a lot. And lately she's been FaceTiming and just getting like, sexy, like showing me her body and, starting that off. And it gets me like in this mood. And I'm like, and then I go see her, I drop the kids off and she's like, hey, gives me a hug and says, all right, bye. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know where to go. So I Cynthia, should I just stop? Because I sat down, I talked to her and I said, I don't think we should be intimate and we should kiss or we should do anything like that anymore because it's confusing to me. And then she kind of just laughed at it. And, I think it feeds her ego and I think it's an ego thing. But do you think it's wise to just high five her when I see her or give her a hug? Or I don't know. Should I stop this, flirting? It's in my head and I don't know what to do.
Thank you.
If that's a question.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Every cell in my being wants to say, yeah, like nix that shit. Because it's, I feel like it's very disrespectful to you. I don't think she's meaning to be disrespectful. And I'm sure there's many reasons why she's doing what she's doing, but it is knowing you and you sharing how this hurts when she is with other people and feeling how honorable you are. She is just right in your face, not seeing you in that, not understanding how in tune you are and how much you feel and how much you pour yourself into other people. And as you were talking, it's kind of like you had kind of wild wind energy, right? And then as soon as you were kind of coming to the end of like, should I just kind of like high five her? I felt more of the centered, grounded, rooted Scott that you are. And you are worth more than what you're receiving right now. And I want you to have what you're worth, not these little crumbs.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's, because I know that I can't move forward with her, even if she was like, okay, I'm done. I want to be back with you. Because I would never fully trust her after what happened. She would say, I'm gonna go study. And I still don't believe her now. It's been too many times where as I told you, I was borderline obsessive. I was looking at her phone, doing everything that I shouldn't be doing. And I would just see all these lies and then her like look at me straight face and just tell me another lie. And I'm just sitting there waiting for her to tell me the truth, which never came. I had to call her out and I had to, and it just killed me every time. So I'm not saying she wants to do that, but even if she did, I don't think I could or want to. But at the same time, I still have this like, not just lust for her, but also, I've spent so many nights in bed with her and just like, just talking to her, and it's this connection that I want again, but there's no way I can bring myself to that, because every time I'm with her, I'm like, who was just with her, because she's done that to me. And it's like, it's just a monkey in my head right now. I thought I beat him down, but he's back.
What would it be like to be in a partnership with someone where there's lust and connection and depth, and you're next to her every day in bed, and you don't have to think about who's she been with, or when's the next time she's going to dismiss me, and what is that going to feel like, and how am I going to process that and act like it doesn't affect me? Like, what would that be like?
Oh, that'd be amazing. And that's how I felt before with her. I had no reason to not trust her. And like I said, this litigation has been really tough. I had my family, basically two of my brothers. One was, a heroin addict. He, robbed 2 banks. He's proven himself to be a man now, and I really love and respect him. But that was tough through our relationship because he was always around. We didn't know if he's going to strike and come in because he's, took from us before. And then my other brother took my mom's money, took her house, had her sign everything over to her, and then left her on the street. So all this was like a culmination, and she had help with this litigation. And I felt so bad, and it put so much resentment on our relationship because she's trying to do med school at the same time. So then I had this bad, and then I started losing all my confidence because I can't do paperwork for shit. Mm-hmm. And I swear, I look at the documents and I'm like, Yeah. And so it's been really rough, and I felt so bad, and I lost, like I said, my confidence, and she saw that. And then she's around at med school, with these like good looking future doctors, and that also got to me as well. And eventually she just, she lost that spark for me through resentment and through my own inability to be there as a man and lead. And I understand it. She had given me the ring back before she had engaged with other men. But at the same time, we were still living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed. So it was very tough. I don't consider it cheating what she did, but, she had done some pretty, hurtful stuff to me, and it was hard to get over it. And it still is, of course. Every time I see her, same thing.
Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, you've just been up, seems like one side of the mountain then another, and just many different areas of your life the past several years. And I am blown away just by the heart I always feel in you. And I happened to grow up in a community where there were a lot of doctors. They were the dads and the moms. And I have to tell you, once those doctors retired, their relationships went to shit because the doctor mentality doesn't necessarily have the relationship mentality. And that's what I feel in you, someone who's there for depth and are the warrior in the world for relationship and that kind of connection. And when you share about how you kind of let her push in on your boundary and what you're worth, it doesn't pull me to you at all. It's like, it makes me feel like you're having to put up with a lot of stuff that puts you like in more of a little boy mode. Whereas when you talk about, I can still love her, but I'm going to stand up and have boundaries for myself in these areas, that seems so compelling and so attractive. I don't know if that helps from my perspective, but that's what it feels like.
Oh no, I agree 100%. Because every time I get into that mode and I let her do that to me, I can see in her eyes as well. I see that she pulls back some respect for me because she likes to feed her ego. I know that. She likes to be hit on. So, it's of course everybody does. They want to feel pretty. They want to feel good. Yeah. But when I do it, and when I get back into my mode where I was there, the mode where I felt like I needed, her to tell me I was good at stuff and all our confirmation. When I feel myself slipping back into that, I see in her eyes every time she's just like loses respect for me. And when I'm out doing my own stuff and when I'm out with my friends, we're connecting, going out, she gets super jealous. She'll call me like, 100 times, like just over and over. And I'm like, why are you calling me so many times? That's crazy. And then she gets super upset and we get in an argument. And I'm like, why are you so mad? She gets very jealous very easily because I'm not putting all my attention to her.
Yeah. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And you get to kind of take back the power in that right now. If she's that's her power play. Like your masculinity, you kind of get to compartmentalize that and take that back. And it'll be not only good for you, but good for her. Like the patterns she's participating in, I get them, but they're not good for her best life either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I love it. Let me jump in. So let's help you with some compartmentalization, Scott. Right? But okay. So I just like Drew, when you just said she calls you 100 times and shit, I'm like, okay, I was already going to draw this anyway, but now I really need to draw it. So this is you guys before where you had this shared space, the relationship, and this is you now. And it seems like there's some kind of confusion on both of your parts that this is you guys now, right? There is no relationship space. There is no we space. Now, you can still honor her femininity, just like any woman that, say, walks by. I can be a man that appreciates her feminine energy, her femininity, without ogling her or drooling or anything like this. I can just appreciate her and not have any relationship with her whatsoever. Okay, so that's where you can still be in appreciation of her friendship, of her space, of her kindness, of her co-parenting, of her helping you with the docs, right? The documents and such. But let's not get confused that there is no we space here. And also when I hear she's calling you 100 times and gets all jealous, like I think you'll agree with me that you have not delineated your boundaries around the space that you are now. Otherwise, she wouldn't be doing that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And I want to say it was a week ago. I was sitting with her and we were at a place and the kids were, in the living room, and I shouldn't have crossed the boundary because her sex life is none of my business right now. But I had told her that I feel that she needs to have more respect for her body and not be so easy. And that didn't go over very well. But
let me jump in. Like Cynthia's laughing her head off because like a friend might say that though. A friend might say that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But now the way you said it is, it's like you're trying to talk about sex in some way with her or what?
No. I was seriously, because this is after I told her I think we should not, engage in, we shouldn't kiss, we shouldn't be intimate, because it confuses me. Because I had, the other night we were like kissing and it got in my head. So then I told her what.
Okay. No shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. You were kissing her. Okay.
Well, this was like 2 weeks ago. I told you we were still, for the past whatever, even though she's been moved out, we were still kind of there. And it's like, and then she blames me. She's like, it's just when you want it. And I'm like, well,
right.
I want it all the time, but I'm just like,
okay. So do you want to continue to be tortured like this, or do you want to move forward in your life? Like you have to decide. Yeah,
I want to move forward. Okay. And I've been on the fence, and I need to make that decision. And that's what I told her. And then she kind of like laughed at it. And then I told her that I think she needs to respect her body more and, play hard to get. And then I'm like, oh shit.
Okay. I'm going to press pause. I'm going to mute you for a second, Scott. So I've got 3 things I'm going to get into right now, guys. I've got quotes from 2 different books and I've got a clip I want to show you as well, just on this exact topic, how to define myself, how to uphold my boundaries. I made a video once upon a time. I don't remember the title of it now, but this whole I'm on the fence is really you just like ramming the fence post into your balls over and over again. It's really not like on the fence. It's just like fucking torturing yourself. It's like, okay, slam, slam, slam. Like, let's stop doing that. Like, let's jump on the side of the fence we want to be on, which is not with someone who's unfaithful and lies to you, right? Okay. And then it's funny. So Alison Armstrong talks about how women emasculate men when they feel like he's starting to come into his power. Okay. If she feels defensive or insecure about your power as a man, guys, okay, that's when she's likely to emasculate you. Okay. And when she laughed at you, that's what she did. And she like knocked you down a peg and it's like, oh yeah, right. Like you're going to be able to, stay away from me. Oh yeah, right. Like you wouldn't have sex with me if I want, grabs the power, emasculates you. Okay. Puts you back into your fucking corner so she can have the power over you and have her ego plays. Right now, like you said, ego is a part of all of us, but obviously she's steeped in it. And I'm sure she's like smart and beautiful and all these things. And yeah, you have history together and you have a child together. Like I totally get it. Right. But if you want to wake the fuck up, it's time to move forward. Right. So I'm here to hold up that torch for you. So let me share. So from Hold On to Your Nuts is the book we're highlighting this week. A couple things I want to point out, Scott. Repeatedly compromising your nuts will piss you off, right? And if you don't know what your nuts are, your boundaries and values are in the first place, you're just adrift. So that's something that you have to decide is, do I want to be her fuck buddy or do I not? And being her fuck buddy, if you want more, gentlemen, if we want more relationship than she does, okay, we're going to grow resentment. So that's consistent for every man that I've ever met for years. My local men's group, we talk about this. If you want more in relationship than she does, and you don't delineate space, you will grow resentment because she'll end up accidentally using you. And that's what you're talking about, Scott, okay? We talked about this on yesterday's show. Cynthia talked about why in yesterday's show. So if you haven't seen that one, it's like, hopefully you're on here live because we're about 4 weeks behind posting those on YouTube. But if you're watching this on YouTube, watch yesterday's show. That's the reason to be on here live, guys. Okay. Don't ask permission to be the man that you want to be, right? And the man who holds on to his nuts, okay, as a man who holds on to his nuts, your wife may not always be happy with you, but she will learn to respect you and over time, respect your nuts, respect your values and your boundaries. And we've talked about in here, if she does not respect you, then she cannot be attracted to you and then therefore cannot want to be in relationship with you, right? If she doesn't respect you, she cannot feel in love with you. And that's what we want. That's why we're here, guys. We love women. We love relationship. And we don't want one night stands. We don't believe in red pill, like just behaviorally treating her like a horse or a dog, you know, like we all have tendencies. We all have behavioral tendencies, but we also care about emotion and spiritual connection and passion and growth together. Those are the kind of men that we are here. That's what Great Men Move Mountains is about, right? So I'm like, I fucking will get in a little bit protective mode for my bro here, Scott. And like Cynthia was saying, wouldn't it be great if you left that ship behind? Okay, so let me give you some more. This is from, I did not have this on the show yesterday. I just pulled it up this morning. Silence the Little Boy. From Hold On to Your Nuts, Silence the Little Boy. Anxiety is the little boy screaming for help. Anxiety is not a feeling. It's a place to hide when you're afraid to acknowledge how you really feel. The little boy is anxious. The man can own his feelings. But being anxious is a good indication that there's work to do. To help silence the little boy, ask yourself, if I weren't anxious right now, what would I be feeling? Would it be fear, sadness, loneliness, anger, shame, or joy? Take the time to allow the true feelings to arise above the anxiety. When you have a handle on your feelings, you'll silence the little boy and give the man a chance to be a man. So with me, mine becomes frustration, mine becomes anger, and that covers the resentments, or that covers my own guilt for allowing things to cross a boundary farther until I'm angry, right? And Scott, what you're talking about is like, you haven't had boundaries around physical connection. And so now it's like, oh, I want relationship, but she doesn't. And it's almost like a collapsing, like the monkey mind collapsing with anxiety. Yeah. So if I were to ask you to be real of what's underneath, Scott, if you can unmute yourself, what's underneath the monkey mind anxiety? Like what's really the feeling underneath that? Is it sad that you lost the relationship with her? Is it, what's the real feeling underneath?
I think it stems from jealousy, really. Mainly, I've been, I've been chatting with old friends, I've been on a few dates, but it's just I think jealousy and a little ego, because I don't want anyone else having sex with her. It's weird. I know we're past that, and then it's jealousy that she could just go, move on from the start and just, start fucking people, bam, bam, bam. So I think that stems from it as well. I know that she's not a possession. I know that she is her own body, her own mind. And I thought after we got married that was, it was, our bodies were each other's, and then I remember a good quote from Dan. He said that sometimes the woman or, in your life will just make a decision to be happy, to be happier. and that was her decision to move out and do all that. And I respect it. There's no apology needed for that. But I think it stems mainly from jealousy. And that's something I want to get over. Because just thinking about some other guy's hands on her, it triggers me. And, sadness is there, the lost love, all that. But I think it's mainly just superficial jealousy. I think that's where it's coming from. And I need to, stop that in its tracks, I guess.
Sure. So if I were in a one-on-one coaching call with you, I would say, is it okay that I go for the throat here? Can I go for the throat, Scott?
You go for the balls, man. Go for it.
I'd rather go for the throat. I mean, we can talk about ball. Cynthia wants to go for the ball. I'll go for the throat. And this is with love, right? And you want to fucking have perspective on this, right? And we're talking about the little boy. So what kind of man thinks that she is entitled to only be with him, right? What kind of man, what kind of little boy thinks, oh yeah, she can't be with anyone else for the rest of her life? What kind of man, is still jealous of the fact that even though intellectually, here, right? Okay. Now that's not to say that I wasn't there. Okay. That's not to say that that's not a part of us, but the way we flush this out is to really call out what it is, that piece of us that's still jealous, because there's many pieces of us. That's why we've done the boardroom here. So this is called parts theory. It's parts therapy. If you guys want to look this up, it's called parts theory. And so these are the different emotions, the different parts of us. And some of these have been shoved down since childhood, right? If we feel like we're not enough, it's like one of our core fears is I'm not enough. And so if I'm not enough and I'm possessive, right? If I'm the shadow of the little boy, right? If I'm king, warrior, magician, lover, and my lover little boy is a mama's boy, or if my adult man is the jealous man, right? Okay, then I'm going to want to hold everything in. And if we don't process that and call that out, that's just a piece. That's a piece of us, Scott, right?
Yeah.
So is that fair to say that there's still like that part of you that hasn't really acknowledged that's an entitled way to look at her? Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely, I feel it and I'm trying to acknowledge it. But it's mainly, I felt so good because we hadn't been intimate for a while and I started feeling better. And then once we started engaging again, that's when it just backfired on me. And that's the biggest problem. And I see that. It just seemed too easy to go right back into it because I haven't been with anyone else yet, and that's also part of my jealousy, I think too.
Let me jump in right there. Let me pause right there. So you just said I didn't have a boundary with her.
Yes.
So you said, and then you said that I haven't moved on, and you don't have to move on, but you also said I haven't been with anybody else. So if that's a want that you have, I just spoke with a man yesterday. He's also working on sobriety, that they've been divorced for 2.5 years. And he just started having coffee with other women. You could call it dating other women, but just going out and being exposed to other femininity. Mm-hmm. And that's something that can be healing for you as well, as to experience what other women that want to be with you and want to have time with you and not just tease you and not just use you, if you will. At least part of your ex is using you, right? But to be around other women is a healing thing as well, right? There's us, there's her, and there's the relationship. Even coffee with a new woman is a healing type of relationship if we have boundaries. So what boundary, in a healthy way, what boundaries do you want to have with your ex now that we've put this all on the table?
Well, in my ideal relationship with her, just that we both, we both have enough time with our boys. We have the 2 boys. Right now I'm taking the brunt of it because she's got finals and she's in school and I got furloughed from my job. So I don't mind it because I love spending time with my boys. But I still get the little resentment here and there. I say I don't mind it, but then if I think she's out partying with friends and not studying, which she does, then I get in my head. But I want her to spend, to teach the boys, she's going to be a doctor. I want them to have a doctor mother. I want her, to, first and foremost, be there for the boys. and then just have a friendship with her, because I enjoy talking to her. I always have. We started quick. It was hot and heavy, and we were never friends before. It was all sexual, bam, and then into the relationship and into the marriage and into the kids. But yeah, I would like a friendship with her because she's a really cool person. It's just, as far as our relationship goes, it's a whole different story, And
right, that's good. So let me jump in.
Yeah.
That's what we're delineating, right? So you want her to be a great mom. That's awesome. But friends don't make out, at least.
Yeah.
No, my definition of friend is anyway. Like, friends don't make out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you got to take ownership of that. This is how you can lead as a man. You don't have to be in a relationship to lead. You're going to lead and set the tone, as Dr. Robert Glover would say. And you can even, Cynthia talks about this quite a bit, which is you can go to a woman and you can say, I've been thinking about something that's really important to me. And I want to admit that I made a mistake. I made a mistake to kiss you. Just own it. Like, there's no reason to arguing over who kissed who and whatever. You didn't stop her, right? So let's not worry about that. It's just own it. It's like, hey, I made a mistake that I kissed you, and that's not going to happen again, right? This is my boundary, and I want to be your friend, and I love being your friends, and I love being a co-parent with you, and that's what we are. And so I won't make that mistake again. I want to say that out loud, and I apologize for crossing that line.
You just shut up.
It took me like less than 30 seconds to say, right?
Yeah.
And with love, yeah, I'll get to, so let me say, Scott, with love, it's like, you don't need the whole backstory of like, oh, and we've been so great and fucking blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, hey, I've been thinking about something. Here's what I want. It was my mistake. This won't happen again. I apologize for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, more periods and less commas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like, because I'll just keep going and going, and it's like in sales, you're like, the first person to talk loses after you set it out.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. Well, and it's so
not loses.
Yeah, I pulled up another section from "Hold On to Your Nuts" as you and Cynthia were talking. And this says, "Stop being afraid of your wife. Stop being afraid of her." Yeah. A lot of men are extremely uncomfortable when their wives are upset or simply not happy. They will sell themselves out just to change their wife's mood. If this is you, it's time to learn that although this may come from your past, it does not have to be a part of your present. The little boy may have learned this behavior when he watched dad tiptoe around the house because he was afraid of mom. You may have learned to be afraid of women too. Your wife knows it, and she doesn't like the power it gives her. She'd rather you be the rock, which is tool number 5 it talks about. Silence the little boy by allowing her to have her own problems and to have her own feelings without having to worry about how that makes you feel. Okay, so you might feel guilty. This might be a new thing. That's separate. Okay, separate your own anxiety and your own shit from her feelings of not approving of you. And that's kind of easier said than done, but that's why you have delineation. So I want to say one more thing, Scott, and then we're going to move forward, okay?
Sure.
So the monkey mind, I'm going to press pause on you for a second, bud. So the monkey mind, guys, it's when we go cross a boundary, we know we shouldn't, either with drink, with drugs, with her, with sex, whatever your vice. We all have generally a large vice: food, television, Netflix, like work. Avoidance by working 80, 90 hours a week and not going home or not wanting to upset anybody. Okay, so we all have a vice. And if we can't, we need to cut the cord of the thermometer, right? Of when she's upset, then, oh, that means I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that at all. And actually, she wants you to be able to stand in the tension of her being upset. Okay, so if there's ever a chance, guys, also to start version 2.0 of a relationship, you must become a master of tension. You must become a master of her not feeling great in this moment and you being detached from that. You can still care. You care about her, but you can, if you find yourself thinking, oh, I'm going to do this so she's not upset, that's the wrong fucking path. Okay. Or if you find yourself thinking, oh, she is upset, maybe I should do something so she feels better. Okay. That's the wrong path as well. You can be empathetic. You can ask her, hey, baby, it seems like something's wrong. I'm here to listen. What's going on? and she says, no, I just want to handle it myself. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Honor her agency, honor what she's wanting is to handle it herself. Right? Maybe the next day, if she's still feeling bad, you could go to her. This is if you're in relationship, but if you're not, that's not your responsibility. You don't have husband responsibilities any longer if you're separated or divorced or just friends. Okay, so don't get yourself confused. Don't get it twisted in your own self that you're still a husband because you're not, even though that's fucking painful, guys. I've been there. Okay, we want that, but that's not real. So let's leave that Shakespearean tragedy behind and turn this way and start making our own in the world, start having our own adventure, our own battles in the world over here. And Scott, I would say, start planning some coffee dates with new women, okay, and delineate yourself from her. So Cynthia, thank you, Scott. I'm going to press pause. So Cynthia, I'd love you to give some feedback on, does that sound, does it sound cold, right, guys? Does it sound cold when I'm delineating how I should treat her? Or guess what? It's not my job to fix her, right, guys? So Cynthia, give us some feedback on that, please.
You and Jeff, just so you know, in the chat as you were speaking, there Kent was giving feedback, Andy was giving feedback, and it was really hitting home. I think Ruben had actually asked a question earlier in the chat just about how, like, codependency, that feeling of being so tied into someone else's reactions is so powerful, and it can feel like life or death to us. It can feel like I'm going to be alone in the world or I'm not, like that black and white thinking. And in my own journey with wanting to please men that I was with and being like so anxious that I never even I thought my ideal relationship was to always live in separate houses than someone you were with, because my anxiety was so high about making sure they're happy or trying to fix if they were disappointed, and I just couldn't handle being in that space all the time and fearing that I was going to mess up. It is to have a boundary like that and to trust that someone else can handle their own stuff is actually, not only is it good for us, but you're looking at someone through the eyes that they're 100% capable. And sure, there's skill in relationship where we can allow someone their own autonomy and still like support them and be compassionate with them. But we're all craving for people to look at us through the lens that we're 100% capable. None of us want to be looked at like we are unable to handle our lives, I think, whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. So Cynthia, let's segue into the piece of the pie that we'd love for you to share today. Cynthia's been developing how to pet the elephants, how to understand her pieces of the pie. And Scott, this plays right into what we're talking about today, guys. And this plays right into, gentlemen, we asked the question of how can she want to be friends still? Or how is she going out and having all these other experiences and then coming home and expecting us to be fine with that? And that deals with what Cynthia is going to talk about right now about the pieces of pie. Here's Cynthia's pieces of pie, our woman's pieces of pie. So please, Cynthia, talk with us about the next evolution that we're adding today.
Well, I was thinking I should have put a picture that had pumpkin in there because I know that's your favorite part, and I appreciate when you enjoy my pie. So.
Oh yes, well that's for after we do the show. That's for a later time. Yeah, that's my private pie.
So the part that's like the variety, that human need to have variety in our life, in a woman's world, that is her being very, very present with her femininity. And to be in a woman's body, everything is always changing all the time and every day and in every way. And she really celebrates that in like the ways that she dresses, she does her hair, the way she speaks, the way she manages her space. And as fun as that is, as a woman, to get to be in that creativity, to be seen on the other side of that, to be noticed in what changes and how she's being creative with the moment, whether it is how she's dressing or, how she is inspired in each day to be in that energy is so... There's nothing more that feels so compassionate from someone, and to be noticed in a positive light, like my whole being just relaxes, even just talking about that. It is such a gift, and it is something that can be received and given in what it can be romantic relationship, it can be platonic, it can be, someone you see at the grocery store, but it makes an enormous difference and can dissuade a lot of anxiety, anger, fear on her part when she's noticed in a positive light.
Oh, very cool. Her wanting to be noticed in that light. So we're developing this week, gentlemen. When we finish these pieces of the pie, we will put together and present this format on the private forum. So we will put this into a worksheet and a tool on our private Facebook forum. So right now I realize this is super small. That's what we've got right now in the moment. So this says number 4, variety, and she wants to feel her presence in the world. And Cynthia put in here thoughts like when she thinks, I am noticed, I am being watched out for, I'm being paid attention to. And what we can share with her, this is our lover energy that we can share with her. We can share with her something like, I love your presence today. I love your beauty today. Or I love your radiance today. Or I love how you showed up for our kids today, right? Or your blank is captivating. Your hair is captivating me today. The way the sparkle in your eyes is captivating me today. Right? So you pick one thing. Gentlemen, let me give you some advice. You pick one thing to say, and then you just sit and hold tension, okay, and be present with her. So I really find the sparkle in your eyes captivating today. Okay, let that tension sit there. Let that tension sit there. Right? It's called sexual tension for a reason. Okay. And also if she's upset, that's tension. If you're setting a boundary and she doesn't like it, that's tension. So start to realize the better you get at holding tension without collapsing or exploding or becoming defensive or like fighting back. Okay. You can feel it. You can feel mad. You can feel upset. Let it wash over you. It's like when cold water hits you, you just let it wash over you for 10 seconds. Like you get used to it in about 10 seconds. If the heat of anger like hits you, come back into your breath. Breathe into your belly. You don't have to say anything. Start to get really good at that tension. And if being around her, Scott, and I see in the chat over here, guys, like, how do I do this? How do I do this? I know we're running out of time today. I do want to share an Eckhart Tolle clip he explains how to do this in his way.
Laura, one of our Facebook followers, wanted to know how to calm the voice in her head. She writes, I feel like my mind is racing at enormous speed, and at night it's even worse. How can I stop the constant stream of consciousness in my mind?
Good question.
Thanks, Laura.
Many people will be thankful for that question.
Yes.
So, first of all, the question implies that you know that your mind won't stop.
Yes.
If you are totally immersed, you're so identified with your mind, even the thought that your mind won't stop doesn't even occur to you because you become your mind.
Yeah, you don't know that it is your mind that won't stop.
Yes.
So, Laura, that's your head of the game.
Okay.
The fact that Laura knows that her mind won't stop is a good thing.
It's a good start. So when you hear the thought, why can't I stop my mind? Don't believe it, because you can stop your mind. How? You can choose to take your attention away from thinking, and the first thing you do as you lie there in bed, you ask yourself, can I feel the energy inside my hands?
Yeah.
In other words, can I feel that my hands are there without touching anything? Can I feel that there's an energy inside my hands? And after a little while, most people can. There's a slight tingling or aliveness that you can feel when the energy goes in there. And that's an enormous step that you've already taken, because immediately thinking will slow down, because it no longer has your whole attention.
Got it.
And then see, can you incorporate the whole body? Can you sense your legs and arms?
So why does that work and not just Laura saying to herself, let me think about something else?
There's no anchor then for presence, and the mind has such momentum that you won't be able to stop it.
Got it.
You need an anchor for presence. And the inner body, as I call it, is a wonderful anchor for the state of presence.
Laura, I hope you got that too.
So I'm going to pause there. So my anchor for presence is my breath. So I come back, am I breathing? I push my belly out, and I can do that just at any point, anybody I'm looking at or anywhere that I am. So my anchor is my breath. And I have to be aware to come back to my breath. Like you said, the first step is to be aware that our mind is going. And that's the first step. If you got there, you're not at the starting line anymore. Okay? And then I focus on my breath. And breathing deeply helps you slow your brain down and bring your frontal lobe back online as well. Right? So breath in so many different forms of spirituality and meditation and presence exercises has to deal with our breath. So that's mine. So I want to honor, first of all, there are two men that I've asked to be leaders within our tribe, gentlemen. It's Jason and Andy, and they've been on here today giving thoughts and advice, and I love them for doing that. They're moderators in our closed group, our private Facebook group as well, and they're working with me to grow this tribe, as well as Cynthia, of course. And so if you're not on our private Facebook group, go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your information, and we'll personally invite you in. So Cynthia, if you would honor all of our men that are here today, you guys are phenomenal. If you would honor them, and then we'll close the show for today. I do have a cliffhanger clip of the second half of the Robert Downey Jr. clip that I showed yesterday. It's kick-ass. It's called Don't Chase That Thing, of how to realize in your own life which way you want to go, how to put boundaries around your own self and go for it in a kick-ass way. So Cynthia, let's please honor all of our men that are here today, please.
Oh yes, I love going back and seeing all who's here even later on the show. It makes me so excited to see. And Walters is here. Sean came on. Thank you, Scott, so much for what you shared today. And Rob is here. Ruben, is so nice to put a face to the name. I'm so glad that you're here. And Randy, thank you so much for being here. Patrick and Pat is here. John, just so you know, Scott, John had a great comment in there. He's like, he really appreciated how open you are to be able to talk about things, and thought that was a really great modeling. And Jason, thank you so much. Jason even put in the private comments to me, in some of those prompts I put in the woman's pie, he's like, yeah, you know, as a man, it might come up about better this way, or it was feeling this way. So I really appreciate, Jason, you really helped me get good words to talk about things. Ian's here, Hossein, Harry, Brett, Andy's here. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your presence.
Yeah, I love you guys and how interactive you are in the chat. You guys are fantastic, and I'm sure you are behind the scenes and in private chatting each other as well. That's why we're here, guys. We're here to do our daily work. You guys kick ass. Thank you for joining us. This has been the C-Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. We have free stuff on our website. Go to greatmenmovemountains.com and go to free content. We have a free 45-minute audiobook, How to Grow Hugs, Kisses, Sex, and Affection, The Staircase of Intimacy, and a free 10-day program called Solve the Number One Cause of Divorce in 10 days. Solve the Number One Cause of Divorce in 10 days. You can find both of those on our website. To be on our private Facebook group, again, go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your information. Or if there's another gentleman already in there, they can invite you in, and I've got to give you the thumbs up. So you have to be privately invited into our group. Everybody that's in there has been privately invited from the first man when I started this group, right? So there's over 110 men in there right now. You guys are phenomenal. Here we go. Robert Downey Jr., Don't Chase That Thing right now.
Because you can reach out for help, kind of a half-assed way, and you'll get it, and you won't take advantage of it. You know, it's not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems. What's hard is to decide.
What do they say? Faster alone, further together?
How can you possibly hope to stop me?
Like the old man said, together. Sometimes you can only think about further because you gotta get downfield. Other times you're thinking, hey, this is my moment to run, and I need a little help and a little approval, and I need a little leeway. But that's any creative endeavor.
It's easy to embrace hopelessness when things seem insurmountable. It's actually just a matter of time until all of the elements come together for things to be all right. I mean, I believe that, you know, most difficult situations will resolve themselves if you are persistent and if you don't give up entirely. And that's what I never did. I never gave up.
I ran those 6 or 8 lines I had 1,000 times, lying in bed over and 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 over again. It was one little mosaic after the next, and it was a piece of work I was doing. And I cared about doing it as professionally and as honestly as I could. At this point in my life and being, you know, kind of middle-aged and all that, well, I know I'm going to fly around the world and I'm going to sell some soap. And I know I have a new project, and I know I've just retired my jersey on this 12-year journey I've been on. And how do I want to start? And it came up, how would you like it? I go, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go have the Joe Rogan experience and kick off this year and this season and this new chapter by doing what I love, which is an interview as we're looking at each other, and there's a give and take.
I went to rehab, but I stayed in the same room that Robert Downey Jr. stayed in. He became my idol because of Iron Man and what he did with his career. I made him my mentor without him even knowing about it. He wrote on a corkboard in McCallum Hall, "I am here with you all."
Where is your heart?
It's easy to believe that things are gathering momentum and going into a negative place. I mean, I think human nature can tend to be a little bit critical of itself.
Sometimes you just got to go, yeah, you know, I effed up.
I just took full advantage of it. I mean, you know, even though it wasn't the end of my struggle, you know, I made the best use of that time that I could, because they say if you don't do the time will do you.
You earn 8 cents an hour?
What's humbling is to have to live your life for some reason that is yet to be explained to me by God in such a public way, when so much of it is so humiliating and embarrassing. So by the time I got into prison, it wasn't like, wow, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You know, it was an extension of things being miserable.
It's just incredible. Our culture never encourages taking a break, never encourages saying, don't chase that thing.
So don't chase the old relationship. Okay, you might start version 2.0. You might have something different in the future. You might be kick-ass in your own self, but don't chase the zombie of the old relationship. Don't try to bring back that feeling you had 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's torturous because you can't. Okay, so move forward. Take the next step. Love you guys. You're on this show every day because you're taking the next step. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Ciao.
Bye.
Whose heart is sunshine, whose body burn hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares, and it's lovely.